Doge reverses move that made its claims nearly impossible to check. The Department of Government Efficiency on Tuesday reversed a change that made some of its claims more difficult to fact-check. The group had been caught in a series of high-profile errors. On Tuesday, the group added links to many of the grants entries in the USA's pending.gov database. Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency recently reversed a controversial decision that made it harder to fact-check their claims. In early March, the department started sharing detailed claims about savings from canceled federal grants. But the information was initially sparse. They had previously included identifiers in their website's code, allowing for easier verification of their claims by the public. However, on March 5th, they removed these identifiers and added more grants, complicating the verification process even further, citing security reasons for the change. On Tuesday, the department restored some of the missing identifiers and linked to a federal spending database, USA's pending.gov, improving transparency for fact-checkers. Despite these updates, the new claims still contain significant errors similar to previous inaccuracies. An example of this is their claim of saving $1.75 billion by cutting a grant to Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, which Gavi has refuted, stating that the grant was not canceled and that all funds owed had been paid. Meanwhile, Trump administration ends tracking of kidnapped Ukrainian children in Russia. The State Department has ended funding for the tracking of Ukrainian children abducted by Russia. Lawmakers will send a letter to Secretary of State Rubio on Wednesday. The work on the abducted children by the Yale School of Public Health humanitarian research lab was frozen when President Trump signed an executive order in late January halting almost all foreign aid spending. The lab received $26 million in congressional funding over 3 years through the State Department to track war crimes committed by Russian forces in Ukraine. The database has detailed information on 314 kidnapped children. The U.S. State Department has halted funding for tracking Ukrainian children abducted by Russia. And there are concerns that a database containing crucial information may have been deleted. The Yale School of Public Health Humanitarian Research Lab was working on this issue until the funding freeze initiated by President Trump in late January, which affected many foreign aid contracts. A letter from U.S. lawmakers led by Representative Greg Landsman highlights that this freeze jeopardizes efforts to support Ukraine in addressing child abductions. The Yale lab was tasked with preserving evidence of abducted children to assist Europol and Ukraine in their return, but there are fears that data may have been permanently lost. The Yale lab's work was part of a $26 million funding initiative aimed at tracking war crimes by Russian forces in Ukraine, initiated under the Conflict Observatory Program in 2022. Researchers at Yale have tracked thousands of abducted children, compiling detailed information that could aid in legal actions against Russian officials for their actions in Ukraine. Despite the resumption of some U.S. aid to Ukraine, the Yale researchers still lack access to necessary satellite imagery to continue their work on tracking these abductions. In another world of UK, King Charles III to meet Pope Francis during visit to Vatican next month. Charles III will have an audience with Pope Francis during a visit to the Vatican next month. Francis is recovering from pneumonia after a bout of bronchitis. Charles' visit is symbolic of efforts to establish closer ties between the Catholic Church and the Church of England, which split from Rome in the 16th century. Charles and Camilla will attend a reception in Ravenna to mark the 80th anniversary of the liberation from Nazis by Allied forces. King Charles III is set to meet Pope Francis at the Vatican next month, signaling hope for the Pope's recovery from double pneumonia. Pope Francis, 88, is hospitalized on February 14th due to a severe respiratory infection that led to pneumonia, but is now showing gradual improvement. Buckingham Palace revealed that Charles reached out to the Pope privately during his illness, highlighting their connection. This visit is significant as it aims to strengthen ties between the Catholic Church and the Church of England, which separated in the 16th century. Charles, who became king in 2022, dedicated to fostering interfaith dialogue and unity among different religious communities. His trip to Italy will also focus on the relationship between Britain and Italy, especially in the context of supporting Ukraine against Russia. A highlight of the visit will be Charles's attendance at the Papal Basilica of St. Paul's outside the walls, where a historic event celebrating Christian reconciliation will take place. Back to USA. Illinois' parents, lawmakers sound alarm over proposed homeschooling bill. Direct assault on families. The Homeschool Act, also known as HB 2827, would require homeschooling parents to fill out a homeschool declaration form and register their children in their nearest public school district. It also requires documentation of immunizations and health examinations for children who wish to participate in public school activities. Opponents of the bill have encouraged constituents to submit witness slips in an attempt to halt progress on the bill. Conservative lawmakers in Illinois are raising concerns over a new bill, HB 2827, that could significantly alter homeschooling regulations in the state. The proposed Homeschool Act requires parents to complete a homeschool declaration form to register with their local public school district, placing new obligations on homeschooling families. Failure to submit this form could label children as truant, which comes with penalties, adding pressure on parents to comply with the new requirements. The bill also mandates that homeschool children provide proof of immunizations and health examinations if they wish to join public school activities, further intertwining homeschooling with public school regulations. In addition to registration, HB 2827 outlines specific requirements for homeschool administrators and programs, increasing oversight on homeschooling practices. The Illinois State Board of Education is currently reviewing the bill, and there has been a significant pushback with nearly 30,000 witness slips filed against it by concerned citizens. Both conservative and some liberal lawmakers expressed their opposition to the bill, emphasizing the importance of parental control over education and the autonomy that homeschooling provides. Another story hitting headlines. Elon Musk and his team tried to shut down the United States Agency for International Development. A federal judge ruled that they violated the Constitution and robbed Congress of its authority to oversee the dissolution of an agency it created. He also ordered that agency operations be partially restored, though that reprieve is temporary. A federal judge ruled that Elon Musk's attempt to close the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, likely violated the Constitution, undermining Congress's authority over the agency's dissolution. Judge Theodore D. Chuang's decision marks a significant legal pushback against Musk's actions, highlighting that he has acted in a federal capacity without proper appointment by the president. The judge found merit in a lawsuit from unnamed aid workers, indicating that Musk's swift takeover of executive agencies might breach the Constitution's Appointments Clause. As part of the ruling, Judge Chang ordered a partial restoration of USAID operations, including reinstating email access for current employees and a plan for them to return to their offices. The ruling raises questions about the ongoing impact, as many USAID employees and contracts have already been terminated, leaving only a small number of staff, while Musk is barred from personally interfering with USAID. The judge's order implies that actions could continue with proper authorization from a legitimate agency official. The judge rejected claims from government lawyers that Musk was merely an advisor, noting his direct involvement in significant cuts to the agency's workforce and contracts, leading to the conclusion that USAID has been effectively dismantled.